Welcome to the Wild Type Podcast. I'm Neptune the Chameleon.
And I'm Lyssa Lizards.
And we're your reptile girlies. So I'm super excited for this one because we've talked about in previous episodes.
We've hinted at this topic for a while and said that we were going to do it, and we're finally doing it.
Now we're doing it.
Today's the day.
We're going to be talking all about chain pet stores.
Yeah, and there's so many different ways that we could do this because there's so many different subtopics in the
So many opinions. So many opinions.
I know.
So many things. I know to start out, because I know we definitely want to do future episodes,
Yes.
but I think just to narrow the scope, we should just kind of limit this. We'll talk about animals specifically.
Yes.
So should people buy animals from chain stores, and should the stores even be selling the animals in the first place?
Can I go ahead and give my answer? It's a no to all things.
All of the above.
Both of the questions. No. Do not buy from chain pet stores, and chain pet stores should not be legally allowed to sell live animals, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I would say I'm also in the team no.
And I hate that because I hate giving such blanket statements on things, but this is just one of those situations where
It's a no.
it's a no. It can't really be anything but a
You know
no.
the little gift that's it's a no from me, dog?
Yeah, oh, yeah. It's a no from me, dog.
Yeah.
For sure.
Do you say GIF or GIF?
I think I say GIF.
I say GIF.
I say GIF.
But people are team GIF.
GIF makes me think of peanut butter.
Peanut butter. Jiffy
Yeah,
peanut butter.
Jiffy peanut
No,
butter.
I'm with you 100%.
No, yeah. I'm GIF for sure.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
I say. But there's someone watching this who's I'm team
GIF also sounds too much like Jeff for me. The name Jeff.
Do you know I used to work with someone named Siri?
What?
She's 20, 30 years old and her name's Siri. And
I
I'm
feel so bad for her.
Because you think of the GIF,
Yes.
GIF, Jeff,
Yes.
guy, and you're you grew up your whole life being Jeff, and now people say GIF,
Yes.
whatever. Well, her name is literally Siri. Siri.
Could you imagine hearing people at work being hey Siri, what?
Yeah. Or everyone named Alexa.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a hard one. That's tough.
That's just
tough.
you didn't pick that.
You
Your
didn't choose
parents
that?
didn't pick that.
No.
You were born way before
it's
technology.
just the name Karen. I have a family member named Karen, and
I
she's
also
the most
have an Aunt Karen.
she's the most Karen of all time.
Yes.
And
Yep.
so it's just
Yep.
I feel so bad for all the Karens
That's
out
what
there
I'm
who
saying.
aren't Karens.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, they did not bring this upon themselves. Yeah. But
that has nothing to do with chain pet stores.
No.
But
No, but so going back to it,
Yeah.
I know we want to talk about current state and
Yes.
then future state. So
Yeah.
what about it currently that makes us not okay with it? And then what would we need to see change?
What could they do that would make it to where we would, and when we say we mean the entire reptile keeping community.
Totally.
But in order for them to get to that point where they can sell live animals or should be able to sell live animals, what would that look like?
Yeah, because we don't want to just poo-poo all over them and just be negative Nancy's.
And we can talk about this
Nancy's. Even they have a
poor Nancy's.
Yeah. but we don't want to just call out all the things that are wrong with it and then be this sucks.
Well, and I
whatever.
also feel there's a ton of content out there that does that. That's already these are all the reasons it's bad. So let's quickly cover the reasons why it's bad, and then go over the what could they do to improve. And there have been some improvements with at least one of these chain pet stores.
Yes.
So we can talk through that.
We're gonna try and have a somewhat optimistic spin on it. But I know the big thing that's always so heartbreaking is the sick animals.
Yeah.
The animals themselves are just not okay.
They're sick, they're injured, they have underlying illnesses that they're not yet showing until the new keeper has them at home, and then the new keeper blames themselves.
And so you had them for 3 days, it's not your fault.
Well, but honestly though, there are even sometimes that somebody will bring an animal home from Petco and PetSmart, and then they get home and it's a month in.
Yeah.
And by the time it's been a month, you fully think that's your fault.
Yeah. And honestly, it could be, right? If you pair a sick animal with an improper setup,
especially
you're
if they're
really not helping them out.
Especially if the only place that they're getting their care information is from this place. It might still be their
You're really
fault.
just not set up for success at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there are instances where people do have animals that live a long time.
My leopard gecko Charlie is a PetSmart baby, and he is 15 years old, killing it. I hope that I have another 10 years with him.
Yeah.
He's doing amazing. But unfortunately, and I will not so proudly claim this, he lived on calcium sanded reptile carpet for 6 years before I improved my care because I didn't know any better.
Right.
So it's all around. When it comes to chain pet stores selling live animals, they are not setting up their customers for success, whether that be from the actual live animal, all the other things, the supplies, the care info they're giving out, everything.
Yeah, the trifecta, absolutely. Yeah, with the animals, I feel like a big part of it is the sheer quantity that they're producing, right? You like to call them like
they are the reptile version of puppy mills.
Puppy mills,
and that comes because they are such big stores and they are selling so many animals, which again, quantity is not always a good thing.
Right.
They go to these big time breeders who are able to pump out that many and produce that many animals, breed that many animals. And when you're breeding, mass breeding like that, it is literally the definition of a puppy mill. It is, they've got the poor genetics, they've got illnesses, they've got parasites, they've got injuries.
Corners. It's just the reality of it. There's no way that you're able to do it at that scale, right? We see plenty of breeders who have hundreds of babies and are working at what is still considered a large scale breeding facility.
But this is like large scale of the large scales.
Yes, exactly. This is corporate.
This is corporate.
This is national. This is
It's so the breeders that they're getting them from. I mean, they're just at that quantity. There's nothing good about that quantity.
No. So I feel like until they are able to ethically breed these animals and have an actual healthy animal from the beginning, then they should not be selling them, period.
Couldn't agree more. 100%.
And I think it may have to come at a cost of like, maybe they aren't the ones who are breeding. Like maybe they take that out of house, right? And then work with other breeders.
Well, I think they do sometimes. So just to be clear,
maybe we should have done some homework on
well, I have in the past. Not specifically for this episode, but in the past I've done a little digging, and it definitely varies by store. So different stores may have different breeders and different things. So I will say I don't think they're necessarily breeding in house. Some of them might, I don't know, but from what the little research I've done, some of them do have outside huge puppy mill breeders, reptile puppy mill breeders.
Right, but they have a partnership with the store.
And those mass breeders are pretty much exclusively only selling their animals to those stores. So those breeders
that's what I'm saying.
Exist.
That to me doesn't feel like that's third party, because it's just
it might as well. And a solve potentially could be, instead of going to one mass breeder, they could go to dozens of smaller quantity ethical
would be my
breeders.
Recommendation.
That would be my recommendation. But we all know that corporate America doesn't like to manage dozens of breeders compared to one breeder.
If you're talking about cost and profit margins, right?
That makes a big difference.
Yes. Yes.
And they're not going to do that. And so if you're not going to do that, then you shouldn't be selling them.
Yep.
It's a whole cycle.
That's the animal itself. But then we go into the display enclosures, which is to me sometimes the most heartbreaking part of all of it, because you walk in there and you see these teeny tiny little things, and I feel like it's twofold. One, the animal itself is suffering because they aren't getting what they need. It's not adequate for them. And we see at expos all the time, the deli cups.
That's a great point to bring up,
and stuff. But that's only for 48 hours.
That's a max of one weekend. I mean, I would go as far as saying the potential for a max of 3 or 4 days, including travel time. But that's it. They're only in there for that short period of time.
So while we would never recommend that
long term,
but for a temporary solution, we have some wiggle room. But in this instance, these animals are potentially in these inadequate enclosures months. For prolonged period of times that are now having negative impacts on their health as a result of their improper care. So you have that piece of it, and the other half is then you have the consumers, the people who are walking in who are naive, and they just don't know any better.
They either don't know the signs of a sick animal, or that animal isn't yet showing the signs and symptoms yet, because as we know, reptiles love to hide illness. So it's these poor naive consumers don't know what they're getting into.
No, and they see these enclosure setups and they're teeny tiny, and I think anyone can know that that's not sufficient, right?
I'm sure that those, even as naive as new customers can be, they walk in there and they're like, oh, of course I wouldn't keep it in that small, but they think that getting a 10 or 20 gallon is bigger than that tiny thing.
And that's the problem, is you think think, oh, I'm doing
it's getting
so
an upgrade
great and wonderful by having it in this. And yes, it is bigger. Yes, it is larger than and better than what they were in.
But it's still not big enough.
Absolutely. Yep. And that's what the problem is. Yeah. And then even if you wanted to get the right stuff, they don't even
stock them.
No. And I say this all the time because I get tons of people in my DMs who, message me for help, and I have to be the one to tell them, hey, you bought all the wrong stuff, and
you've been misled.
They feel awful because they've wasted their money. They were told incorrect information, and they just feel terrible. And I was like, don't beat yourself up, because even if I walked in there knowing everything,
you couldn't leave with all the right supplies.
No, it's impossible. There's no way I can do that. Yeah. So they just don't even sell the right stuff. So you're from the beginning set up from failure.
From the animal alone, they're set up for failure. From the supplies alone, they're set up for failure.
Right. So it's like, if you're going to sell the animal, the least you can do
is provide the correct supplies.
Correct.
Yeah. And that's that. Oh man. Or we could also say the least they could do is provide the correct care information.
Yeah.
Do they do that?
No.
No,
it's just a whole plethora of problems. And we have seen improvements in the products that they sell. Like, we are seeing linear UVB bulbs. We are seeing Arcadia products coming through the stores.
Bioactive supplies.
Yes. So we are seeing improvements, but it's still not where it needs to be. The enclosures are still not the appropriate sizes. And I've even seen rumors of Arcadia potentially being pulled from chain stores. Like, they're being discounted.
Interesting.
So people are rumoring, and we don't know why they're discounting it or what, but people are hypothesizing that maybe it's because they're pulling Arcadia from the shelves. That
makes the wheels in my brain spin a little bit, because that could be Arcadia doesn't want to be sold there potentially, because we know that Arcadia has high standards for their care. It could be the fact that this is what I think it probably is. I think it's probably the fact that they're going to come out with their own line of these products. They're going to come out with their own UVB line.
I would do that. That would be way more profitable than going through someone else.
And here's the thing. I'm totally on board for that. If it's quality product. If it's a quality product.
We've seen so far from the Thrive line, which for anyone listening is their branded reptile supplies.
Specifically PetSmart.
PetSmart, yeah.
And PetSmart is the one that I have seen making improvements, but not necessarily with this Thrive line.
No, and I was so excited when they announced that they were having their own products. I've just been so disappointed in the products that they're offering, like the range of products. I feel like it's not great, and then the quality of the products, like the Thrive Misters, like those are not great. Terrible. And then they're producing enclosures, but none of them are adequate for the animals that they're actually selling.
They're still not providing the correct sizes.
No, and then they have like Thrive compact UVBs, but they're not selling linear UVBs,
which is why that makes me think that they're going to be making that.
Yeah, but they still sell like ReptiSun, like compact UVBs, and then they sell their own branded UVBs. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see what the future holds. But in order for me to be supportive of them selling these animals, you have to sell the right stuff.
Yep. For every single species that you sell.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's because that's the thing, is like, there might be one or two species that you could technically get everything you need at that store, technically. But is it the best top tier products you can get? Definitely not. But but I think that's what it is I think they have the quote unquote correct products for like one or two species, but it doesn't cover all the species they sell.
Nope, not good enough.
Yeah. And that's my problem.
Or then you just sell those one or two species.
Right. That's what I mean.
I've seen people who have, again, hypothesized that they sell the wrong stuff, so then they'll make money. But to me, that would mean you would still have to sell the right stuff. So then you would if you're a bad person, but like, you would sell the wrong stuff to the person. Here, buy everything. This is what you need. And then they learn, just kidding, that's not what I need. So then they come back and buy the good stuff. So
then they can't buy the good stuff.
But you can't even do that. So that doesn't even make sense. You're not even getting more money from it.
The only way that theory makes sense is when it comes to the animals alone, which is really heartbreaking.
Oh yeah, no.
Because if you lose one animal, you can technically go and replace it.
I don't like that.
Yeah. And
I don't like that.
That is a part of that theory of like they sell the wrong products in order to keep you coming back in for more animals.
I don't want to assume. I don't want to go that negative with it.
No. I'm not saying I 100% believe that.
No,
I'm just saying
but I can see the thought process.
That
I
is
can
a rumor.
See the train of thought.
That is a rumor and a theory that floats around out there.
I would like to think that there's someone who is.
I hope so as well.
Making sure that doesn't happen, but
yeah, we would like to believe the best in people.
Yeah, so we have the animals themselves, we have all the supplies and enclosures, and then we also have the education piece of it. And this is not even education from the consumer. This is education of the employees and of the store, the care guides that they offer. Because you have to keep in mind, most people who are coming into these stores purchasing them
know nothing.
And that's not a bad thing per se.
No, you would
as long as you have the correct resources to learn correctly, and they don't.
Yeah,
so,
and nobody's giving them the correct resources.
And
and I do want to make a little bit of a disclaimer that on the store level, the pet store employees, there are bad ones for sure, but there are really good ones out there who are trying their best.
Yes, and if you're listening to this podcast, like keep fighting the good fight. Like we know the odds are against you, and there's a lot of decisions that are made above corporate or the like the reptile or exotic manager, right, that oversees that piece of it. Like I understand there's only so much that you can do. So
I mean it all ladders up, and a lot of pet store employees, they're stuck with a lot of the corporate red tape of like you have to follow these protocols, you have to follow these care guidelines, all these things. So they are also potentially set up for failure, which is why for me, to my opinion, if they're going to be able to sell live animals and if they're going to do those things, I almost would say that like on the corporate level, I think that there should be like some corporate level position or team or department or even just a couple people who are literally in charge of keeping up with the care information.
Like an education team.
Yes, like a pet care, specifically reptile care education department who not only keeps up with all the research, because as we know, it changes every few months. It changes constantly changing. So they need to have somebody who is keeping up with that information. And then that same team needs to be in charge of trickling it down to educate the employees properly.
Yes. Yeah. Needs to make the changes to the enclosures that they're displaying and the employees.
And the supplies. I mean, that education team could even be in charge of coming out with the right supplies. Like
So it's all connected. I did have someone who I was on a call with recently who was like, you should start offering like corporate trainings.
That
like
would be
to
insanely
Petco and PetSmarts. And like they would hire me in as like a consultant.
Yeah.
And like present to, in theory, their education team and be like, hey, here's everything you need to know about chameleon care. Here are my recommendations for how you should set up your enclosures. Here are my product honestly, I will do the heavy lifting for you.
Honestly, they could even do that instead of hiring a whole internal team for that stuff.
Right. But you have to have someone who has to then go implement the
like they could literally
changes.
hire reptile experts once a year to come in and be like, hey, these are the annual changes that need to be made. And then they have a team, within their department that goes through and makes all the changes, funnels it down to the store level. I mean, that like literally just hire somebody every 6 to 12 months to come in and educate you on, well, since the last time I saw you, here's what's changed.
Right. Like so for anyone listening, if you know of an opportunity, like I will happily do that.
Same.
Sign us up. Happily do that. Yeah. Like, I think that'd be a lot of fun.
And it would be a lot of fun. B, it could
the
change.
Impact that would have.
It would have an insane impact.
Huge.
Huge. Man, PetSmart, Petco, hire us.
Yes.
You need it.
Please do. Yeah, I did a YouTube video. I did one for Petco and I did one for PetSmart, and it was reviewing their chameleon care guides. The little pamphlet,
I've done TikTok videos on the same thing. I think I did one for leopard geckos and crested geckos, I feel like.
I had like a red marker and I was like
covered
going
in
through
red.
Just like everything. Don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. Yeah, and that's just so hard because like no one's set up for success. The employees aren't set up for success. The customers aren't set up for success, and the animals aren't set up for success. So it's just like a lose-lose.
Everybody's losing. Nobody's winning.
Nobody's winning. Gosh. Yeah. So again, in order to support it moving forward, there would need to be some serious educational changes.
Big time. That I think is the highest priority, because then the education piece of it trickles down to everything else that we talked about.
Yep.
So I think that's the number one thing that needs to change. Do we want to get into if people should buy animals from
the one thing
stores?
that I was thinking for future state was like regular health checks on animals.
Oh, yes.
Because I feel like that's not something that they do currently, but that like kind of goes into what you're saying of like the buying the animals.
Yeah.
Because so most people know you should buy from a reputable breeder. Most people who buy from chain stores do so because they don't know that you should buy from a reputable breeder. Those are, to me, are a separate instance, separate scenario. What I know we want to talk about were people who are aware that is not recommended to buy from Petco, PetSmart, and are choosing to do so anyways because of it being a rescue situation. Because those animals, because they don't have health checks, because they don't have regular access to vet care, they are now in a declining situation where they are visibly sick, which to me...
on display sick.
Which means that they are extra sick because they're not just internally hiding their illness sick.
If a reptile is showing their signs...
They're super sick.
They're on the last leg.
They're super sick. Yeah. So then we have people who, like, this is the moral dilemma of, like, do you leave that animal...
To die,
which is what will happen.
Yes.
If you don't do anything at all, that is a guaranteed fate. Or do you purchase the animal and then try to rehab it?
Yeah.
Or do you try and get them to surrender?
And that's the answer. If I could say this in all caps, I would. Buying an animal, putting even $1 towards an animal at one of these chain pet stores pet stores is not a rescue. No matter any way you slice it, you're not rescuing it.
They are making money. That is not a rescue.
There is a cycle here. And if you are playing into the cycle, if you are giving that store money for a sick animal, that only tells them on the data level, on the corporate level.
From a business standpoint.
From a high level corporate business level standpoint. All that is one more data point in we sold an animal. And that just tells them... So
what should we do moving forward?
Supply and demand, man.
Yes.
I mean, if you
replace it with another animal.
Exactly. So if you are adding into that supply and demand chain, it's not a rescue. It's only supplying them with more reason to fill more animals in there.
And I understand how this is so difficult.
It's heartbreaking.
Some stores refuse to surrender.
Yes.
You can ask, you can plead, you can beg, like
you can cry,
but some of them will surrender. Some of them will not surrender the animal, and they will require you to purchase the animal. Then you, as an individual, and like we have our own opinions, and please, like we are so respectful if you do decide to purchase an animal and rehab them.
Yes, I have done that, not at a chain pet store, but I have done that in another situation, and while that animal lived for quite a while, it was still something that I would never do again. And I recognized that was a mistake that I made. Even though I did get the animal at a discounted rate, I was still putting money towards it.
Sure. And it's just a technicality, right?
Yes.
This is technically not a rescue then, because you are purchasing the animal. So everyone has to kind of make their own 2 cents, and people have end up in my comment section where I'm like, hey, I recommend buying from a reputable breeder. I do not recommend from buying from chain stores. And then their response is, well, what about all the animals? You're just going to let them die?
Unfortunately, yes.
And that's just really hard.
Moral dilemma is the right word. You said that a few minutes ago. That is the right word. It is a huge moral dilemma. It is uncomfortable. It is sad. It is gut-wrenching.
We have to make that decision for ourselves, right? Like some people cannot leave that animal there, and they will happily pay for it, and they will happily do everything that they can. My response to those comments is always, the reason why I'm not recommending these chain stores is most new keepers, first-time reptile keepers, are not equipped. They are not equipped with the knowledge. They are not equipped with the equipment, the vet resources to take on the challenges that come with a sick animal.
100%.
We know plenty of people who exclusively only have reptiles at our rescues. They refuse to purchase even from reputable breeders. They only do rescues, and that is their decision to do that. But it is because they are equipped with the knowledge, with the expertise, with the resources, with the vet care.
It.
Yes.
That's
so
huge.
I'm not bashing on the chain stores because I don't think you should buy from you. Like most new keepers aren't even able to take care of the animal for what they require. So even if you want to rescue them,
are you prepared for what that entails?
I've seen way too many times where they will ask me for help. Hey, I rescued this. What do I do? they don't even know.
Yeah.
They don't even know.
Ugh.
And so then I'm scrambling, they're scrambling, trying to get everything set up for this animal because they bought what was at the store, which is not the right stuff. It is just such a sad situation.
My heart just sinks into my stomach.
The success rate is just so
low.
Small.
Yeah.
It's not zero. There are success cases. People do it.
But it's close to zero.
It's small.
Yeah, it's very, very small. And so it's just, in that situation, you're not super likely to save the animal in the first place. And then, for example, if you do this and if you do lose that animal, which is a high percentage of that happening, then all you've done is give this corporation money to replace that animal with another one.
On the other side of it, you gave that animal a chance, right? I don't want to discount that.
Definitely don't want to discount that.
Like
that's important.
You did right by the animal. You did everything in your power to help them, and I have the utmost respect.
I do too.
Utmost respect for anyone who takes on that challenge of trying to help a sick animal. Like, I am so understanding and supportive of that. You just have to recognize the bigger picture.
Yeah.
That this is so much more than just that individual
than just you
animal.
And that animal. It's
so hard not to like stay in the bubble of that small connection of like the bigger.
Yeah.
And again, everyone has a different viewpoint on it, but it's something we deal with on a daily basis. And until these large corporations stop selling reptiles and don't make improvements to their care or product recommendations, whatever, this is going to be our reality.
Yeah, it's a harsh reality. It's a harsh world. It's really depressing if you really sit there and think about it. I try not to let myself.
Yeah,
but it is what it is.
Yeah. So if you do decide to purchase a sick animal and go for it, like, we are rooting for you.
Yeah, and that animal. We hope he pulls through.
Rooting for you. Just know it's not a rescue.
Yeah,
technically speaking. That's all.
It's not a rescue.
Yeah, that is a purchase. There is a receipt.
You paid money.
That's the point that we're trying to make. We're not
bashing on it. We're not hating it. We're just trying to state the facts and the logistics of the whole situation. Yeah.
So I am looking forward to the day where we have well-bred animals.
Can't wait.
Where we have proper supplies, and we know it's possible because there are small local reptile shops who are doing it.
Yeah.
They're doing it well, they are doing it right, and so we know it's possible. Right. We are just waiting for the big guys to get to that level.
Get with the program.
Yeah.
Get with it, y'all.
Yeah. Was there anything else you wanted to add on?
I don't think so. I think that covered
on the stores.
I'm pretty sure that covered all my notes on the stores. It's
a lot, guys, and like, we get it. We go into our local Petco, PetSmarts. I sit for hours. Hours is exaggerating. 20, 30 minutes. Talking to the Petco, PetSmart employees.
I've witnessed it. Yeah.
Teaching them how to sex a baby veiled chameleon so they at least can tell new owners if they have a female so that they can be prepared for egg laying. Like, I will happily spend as much time needed to educate whoever on it, but I'm one person.
I was going to say, but A, you're one person, and B, that employee you're talking to or that one customer you're talking to is one person. So there's not a lot we can do on our level.
But it's what I can do now. So
we'll take it.
And I do. I had someone say like they went to Petco PetSmart and the employee recommended my videos.
Hey,
that was really cool.
That's fabulous.
Yeah.
And good for that employee for knowing of like a good resource.
There are plenty of employees who are mindful that their care sheets are not adequate.
In my comments all the time, anytime I mention chain pet stores, I get a lot of employees in my comments. And there are a lot of employees who say like, I recommend this resource. I tell people to go to this website. And so if any chain pet store employees are listening, please like give out the right resources because we know that you're limited by the corporations.
Yeah.
So,
or employees who have turned down sales.
Yes.
I've heard that too. So
we love those employees. Thank you. We highly support you guys.
So I think that wraps up at least part one of this conversation because I know we will rehash.
There's more stuff we can get into and we will in the future.
The chain stores. But let us know kind of your experiences, your thoughts. I know we kind of got into some debated stuff there.
Yeah. A new month means new deals.
You guys already know we're big fans of Pangea Reptile, and they have a ton of sales and discounts for the month of March, including their supplements. We hope you get lucky and take advantage of their green promotion for St. Patrick's Day. Many green products will be on sale, including plants, hanging bushes, ultimate vines, and succulents.
Then be on the lookout for their spring cleaning clearance sale. And the last one is for all of our rescues. Pangea is also discounting a ton of health-related products, and each promotion runs for 1 week. So head on over to PangeaReptile.com so you don't miss out.
We're going to change gears, and we're going to do a blind ranking, which I know has been a hot minute since we've done a blind ranking. So I thought it would be fun if we did travel destination cities, like vacation spots where you want to go.
I'm in need of a vacay right now, so this is
nice
inspo. Whatever. I'm still in need of a vacay.
Okay, I'm not discounting that, but you did just go to like a tropical island for.
This is true. I know. I just miss it.
Yeah, I went to Disney not that long ago, so that was fun.
I just miss it. But Disney's a working vacation, though.
It is. It's and you're walking like 20,000 steps a day.
But you come home tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need a vacation from your vacation.
I got very spoiled. I had a friend that worked at Disney for a very long time, and so every time I visited
you
her,
told me this.
I got all the discounts. I
spent so much money.
I got in, and so now when I go like back, I haven't been back since because I'm like, I'm gonna be so disappointed by these prices.
No, don't do it. Don't look at the price. Just close your eyes. I was gonna say swipe your card, but now you gotta like tap your card these days. So yeah. Okay, so do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I can't remember what we did last time. Let me go first.
Okay, your cities.
Yeah, let me do my cities.
And then I rank them.
Yes.
Okay, just for anyone listening, friendly reminder: she has 5, I have 5. I don't know what 5 she wrote down on her list, and I have to rank them 1 through 5 without knowing which one comes next.
Yes, and I think I have some pretty good ones. I don't think I threw in any
crazy ones.
Yeah, any crazy bad ones.
Okay, because I feel like the last couple wins you threw in a stink bomb in the middle of my list. I
genuinely would happily go to any one of these cities.
Okay. So that's promising.
Okay, very first one, starting off strong with the Big Apple, New York City, New York.
New York City, New York. I've been to New York before.
Yeah?
I can do it in small doses.
Yeah, same.
I could never live in New York, but I can do it in small doses.
It's just so busy.
It's a lot.
It's so busy.
But I had a good time. So I
haven't been since I was 16. So
I would put it at number 4.
Okay. That's good.
Like would go back, but not like.
Okay. It's like not your favorite place to travel to.
Yeah.
I'm dying to go back there as an adult, but.
Yeah. I was like probably like 17.
Yeah. I did.
When I
went with my best friend and our moms for our 16th birthdays. So.
Oh, that's cute.
I would love to go as an adult, and my husband and I actually have several friends that live up there. So that's on our list to go.
No, that would be fabulous.
What made me think of it?
Yeah. So number 4.
The next one I think is pretty fabulous. Sydney, Australia.
Okay. 2.
Okay. It's on the top of my list for like reptile stuff.
Yeah.
And just Australia in general, but.
Yeah, 2.
Okay, number 2. So we got 4 and 2. So you still got 1, 3, and 5.
I feel like that's a good split.
I agree. Okay. The next one is Denver, Colorado.
Oh, I went to Denver for the first time last year. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had a blast. My best friend from college, we were college roommates. She lives there.
Yeah.
So I had to go visit.
I love Denver. I just love the mountains.
Yeah, and I got to go snowboarding. I will say it was very cold.
Yeah. You went in the winter-ish time,
yeah,
right?
like February, March.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, it was chilly.
Very, very cold up there.
Yeah, and everyone was in like t-shirts because they're like, 40 degrees. This is so warm. And I'm like, no.
No, not warm enough for me.
No. Denver, it's because I've already been and I've been recently. So like I don't have, I'm not like itching to.
Go back.
Yeah. Oh, I feel like I'm going to get so much slack for this. 5.
I get it. No, I get it.
I have 1, 3, and 5.
Especially because you were there recently.
Yeah.
So I get that.
But I would totally go back. Yeah. But I would rather go somewhere.
But not your number 1 or number 3 spot.
Yeah,
I get it.
That I haven't been.
That's fair. Okay. So the next one I have is Paris, France.
Paris. Okay, I've been to Paris. So far I've been to all these besides Sydney.
You've been to the last one.
Oh, I have?
Yes.
Dang it. So I have 1 and 3?
Yes.
Okay. Paris was fine. It just was very dirty.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Just like pigeons everywhere.
Yeah.
But it was, the architecture and history is just like
insane.
Amazing. Yeah. Okay. Because I feel like 3 it has to be like somewhere in the US because I haven't gone abroad like that many places. So I'll put Paris number 1.
Okay. That's pretty good.
So what's number 3?
Number 3 is Key West, Florida.
Oh, yeah, the Keys. I do enjoy the Keys.
Which I know you love.
Yeah, I do enjoy the Keys. I've been there, a couple of times. Yeah, so I think I'm good.
Yeah,
good with that.
I feel like that's a solid list.
Yeah.
Solid ranking there.
Good ranking?
Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, I don't disagree with that ranking much.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Yeah, I feel so. Paris, Sydney, Key West, New York.
Yep.
Denver.
Yep. That was pretty solid. Honestly, I would have similar-ish rankings. I might only move like a couple around.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
solid.
I love it. All right.
Your
that
turn.
wasn't too bad.
No, that wasn't bad at all.
Okay.
I'm nervous. I feel like you always do me dirtier. Or sometimes you help me out. It just depends.
I helped you out last time.
You totally helped me out last time.
You're welcome. Okay. Number 1, starting out, Sydney, Australia.
I'm going to put it at number 1 because it is my ultimate dream to go to Australia.
I know.
Just in general. And my husband and I really want to go on like almost like a month-long trip and go like all over Australia because I want to swim with great white sharks there. I want to do the crocodile cage diving as well.
The whole shebang,
there's so many things. I want to go visit, Steve Irwin's zoo. There's so many things I want to do in Australia.
Can I come?
Yes.
Can I be your plus one?
Of course.
You're going to have your like date night and I'll stay in the hotel. But like besides that, can I?
Third wheel it up. Let's go.
Oh my gosh. That'd be so much fun. Okay. The second one I have is Las Vegas, Nevada.
Okay, I've been to Vegas for a bachelorette party, and it was easily one of the funnest, craziest weekends of my entire life. Fabulous. It's kind of like you said with New York. It's one that, like, I can go and I enjoy it, but more than 3 days in Vegas is, like, insane.
Yeah.
No, thank you. So,
it's a lot.
So I've already got my number 1 spot with Sydney. I'm going to put Vegas at number 4.
Okay.
I feel like that's safe because I like Vegas. I enjoy it. I think it's a great time. I just can't go for more than 3 days.
Yeah, I get that.
It's not like a week-long vacation kind of place.
I'm in the same boat. I was there for a work trip and I was there for like 9 days.
Oh.
It was terrible.
Oh, that's draining.
Terrible. I don't drink coffee, but I drank coffee.
Ew.
On that trip.
I love coffee. I'm not saying ew to coffee. I'm saying for you, ew to coffee.
So it was because I had to be in the conference room like at 7 a.m. Then you're in conferences all day, which is just exhausting because you're like networking and you're talking and like your brain's working. Like
your social battery is like
so imploded. That's till like 4 or 5 o'clock, right?
Then you have to go out with everybody.
Then you have to go to dinner and you're eating dinner with like 10 or 15 people.
And you're probably drinking at dinner.
2 hours to get your food, 2 hours to get your check just because you've got so many people, right? So now it's like 9 or 10 p.m. by the time you finish dinner. Then everyone's like, it's Vegas.
Let's go to the clubs. Let's go gamble.
Whatever. I didn't even do that. I would still be back in my hotel by like 11 or 12, which is still not a lot because I have to be up at 6 to be back in the conference room by 7.
Just
for 9
hearing
days.
about it makes me want to go take a nap.
That's the trip I decided I would not go back to Vegas unless it was for a bachelorette for one of my like best girlfriends. Like I have to really like you.
Which, let me tell you, that is a hell of a good time. It is so much fun.
But I have to really like you.
Yeah.
This subject myself to that.
The one that I went with was all my like 6 little tight-knit group of girls from college and then like a few other friends that were bridesmaids and, childhood friends of the bride. Yeah. And it was, oh my gosh, we ended up in like a booth with like hockey players and it was so much fun. And it was best time ever. So bachelorette trips, I think it's very worth it.
Okay.
Other times, not so much.
Not so much. Yeah, I'm good for 3 days.
Yeah.
Like 4 days, 3 nights.
9 is insane. I can't believe that your work would subject you to that, to be honest.
It was over the weekend. That I didn't have any days off.
That feels like cruel and unusual punishment to me.
Don't recommend.
Okay, next.
Rome, Italy.
I haven't been. I haven't even been overseas. I'm like dying to go overseas in general. You
have 2, 3, and 5.
2, 3, and 5. I think I'm going to put that at number 2.
Okay.
I genuinely think that's number 2 because that's at the top of my list for places to go
Italy's
overseas.
Also very high on my list.
I know. That's number 2.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Next up, we've got Honolulu, Hawaii.
Oh, I haven't been to Hawaii either. I know you've been. I've always been.
I haven't been to Honolulu.
Gone. Oh, you haven't?
I've been to Maui and the Big Island.
Okay. I think that's going to have to be 3, which puts me leaving number 5. And I feel like you're going to have a good one for the last one.
Well, I think I'm going to do a last minute change.
Thank you.
Only because so should I say what it was originally or should I say what it was after?
Say what it was after.
Okay. What do I want to switch it with though?
So Honolulu's 3.
Yeah. I feel like we'll go Canadian, like Vancouver, BC.
Okay, I'll put that at, that's 5 for me, but I'm okay with that. But that is on my list. Like I would love to go there. I think I should have put Vegas last. Is what I should have done, but that's okay.
But you don't know. Vegas was like the second one I said, right?
Yeah, you don't know.
I originally had New York City, New York on there, but I feel like we already talked about New York, so I feel like that was kind of a dud. But
that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair. I don't feel bad about that ranking.
No,
that's
I feel decent. Like what if it was like some middle of town nowhere?
Oof.
Like.
Oh gosh, I mean,
I wouldn't do that to you.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
No, I feel like that was
that's why I was like
round it out.
I didn't put any bad ones on mine. I was like, I feel like these are all good.
Bacon wrapped dates.
Those are delicious.
No,
you're wrong.
Don't do me dirty with the dates. No. No. Okay, so we just wanted to wrap up with one Q&A from one of you guys. This very question is from Sierra Durr _ if I'm saying that right. Thank you, Sierra, for submitting your question.
Woo, Sierra.
They ask, what is your favorite New Caledonian gecko?
Mine is 100% a Lycianus gecko.
Stop! That's what I wrote down.
No, wait, really?
I think I spelled it wrong. Is it?
Yeah, there's an A in there.
Okay, that's what I thought. No one saw that.
No, that's for sure
what
mine.
I put.
I'm shocked that you put that.
I wrote lychee smiley face.
I'm so surprised by that.
Yeah.
Because you've obviously never had one, so that surprises me. Oh.
No.
Did you think I was going to say Chihuahua?
I thought we were going to say some oddball New Caledonian I've never heard of, because before this, she had to Google it to make sure it was a New Caledonian, so I thought you were going to come in hot with like some species I've never heard of.
I was just quadruple checking. I had to quadruple check just because in my head, I put New Caledonian geckos as like my 3 immediate 100% are New Caledonian geckos in my head are crusties, gargoyles, and chihuahuas.
Yeah.
Lychee, because of their size and stuff, for some reason I had like a weird thought in my head. I was like, maybe they're not from New Caledonia. So I was like, that was more like me being insecure of my knowledge.
No, I thought for sure, because you looked it up beforehand, that you were going to come in with some like crazy thing I'd never heard of. And then I was going to be like, I don't know what that is.
There are some really interesting oddball ones from New Caledonia.
For sure.
But no, lychees are my favorite.
Lychees are at the top of my list. Man. I just love their little rolls and how wrinkles. Like chunky they get. Yes. And I just think they're super cool.
Holding a Lycianus gecko is so different from holding any other gecko. I mean, just the weight of them, the folds, and the just
it does remind
thickness.
Me of a Twinkie.
What?
A Twinkie.
Why did they remind you of a Twinkie?
Because they're like they're like the size of a Twinkie. What? And they're just so chunky and just... No?
That came out of left field, man.
It just popped into my head. Just a little Twinkie. Maybe I should get a lychee and name it Twinkie.
That would actually be really cute.
Maybe I stop with the outer space names and just go like Hostess Desserts.
Honestly, that would be way more on brand for you.
Twinkie.
Yes. Ding Dong would be hilarious.
Oh my gosh. Can you imagine?
I honestly should have named Voldemort Ding Dong.
Ding Dong. Yeah. Well, there you guys have it. Thank you so much for Sierra for sending the question.
Yeah, we
had the same answer and we didn't even know ahead of time. Yeah. So I think that wraps up this episode.
That's it.
If you want us to answer one of your questions, be sure you're following at the Wild Type Podcast. Yes. It really is a mouthful.
I know.
It's a long username.
It is. Yeah. At the Wild Type Podcast, hit us up. We usually in our stories put all of our Q&As and we collect them. So
and be sure to subscribe. Hopefully by now we've hit our 500 milestone.
Fingers crossed.
And we've done our live stream.
I hope so.
Hope it went well.
Yeah. Let us know. But
because we film these episodes a little bit in advance of like when they get published and stuff like that.
Unless there's any hot topics, then we film right away.
We'll do it. Hot off the press. Yeah. Yes. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe, leave us a review, comment, all that good stuff. Otherwise,
we love you guys. We appreciate you guys. And we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye, y'all.